6 personnel of a trawler or a fishing ship demised or died yesterday after their ship apparently caught fire. Now, according to an eyewitness, he claims that some of the 6 personnel or some of the 6 people that died during the fire yesterday were just discovered in the early hours of this morning by firefighters and authorities. Now, this morning, this whole entire place was actually swarmed with law enforcement officers as well as the police trying to salvage and get as much information about the death of the 6 personnel who died in the ship just behind me. Now, also, if you look at the condition of that ship, it's not quite a pleasing condition and it's not also a pleasing sight. Now, also, according to witnesses who spoke to the SABC, they claim that the ship actually caught fire at around 1 p.m. and the fire actually continued and ravaged throughout the whole entire night. And of course, by the early hours of this morning, the bodies of those that had died in the fire were actually salvaged by firefighters. Now, also quite interesting enough, we've now discovered that some of the people that died in that ship are actually Mozambican and Portuguese national. And we've also this morning tried to speak to some of the ship owners, and they actually said that they could not speak to the media until the investigations have been concluded. Now, of course, we've been trying to get word from some of the police as well as the unions who are also the ones governing or rather in charge of some of the employees in this particular part. In particular, we spoke to Satawu, the South African Workers and Allied Transport Union. And of course, in a nutshell, they said to us that they are very, very concerned about the deaths that transpired yesterday. But with me, I've got Thulane Dlamini, who also represents Satawu, who will tell us as to how they feel about this particular incident.
Extremely concerned. We are also concerned about what seems to be a cover-up, where we are not allowed access as the unions operating in this space to be able to see exactly what's happened at close range. So whatever information you are getting, it's in bits and pieces, and sadly, it's not from the port management. As port management seem to be refusing to give us any sort of info. They couldn't even give us the name of the vessel, you see, because we wanted to check on it on our system and be able to pick up as to what the condition was when it came. But even without us having been able to pick it up from the system, you can see the vessel physically, that it wouldn't have been in the right condition. I suspect that it even came here at this port being towed, because I cannot understand how a vessel that looks like that could have been able to sail until it got here. So it must have been towed for some distance as well. But it also shows to us that the standards have been lowered somewhat. We used to not allow vessels that are this kind of risk at a port like this. And this is the busiest port. We know that it came for repairs, but for us, how did it even get to this port in this condition that it is in? Fire being put aside. For us, you can see the rust all over the shore. You can imagine if there is so much rust just outside the body of the vessel, how much damage is there inside the vessel. That is now in terms of the rust and the rottenness, because all those are part of the risks of vessels sinking and basically the safety standards being eroded quite heavily. But we are worried. We are really worried because this is not even the first safety incident. In my mind, the Port Authority is supposed to take the blame here, because it shouldn't be allowing vessels that are this rotten. And you can see it's not the only one. There are a number of vessels around that vessel that you can see should not have been in a state to sail and get here. But here they are. Luckily, so far, no incident with them.
Thank you very much, Thulane Dlamini. That's Thulane Dlamini from the South African Transport and Allied Workers Union, just giving us a brief overview as to what their stance and posture regarding this particular incident. Now, you also recall that in his interview said that this is basically a third incident, and they've now also raised eyebrows. They've blamed the employer for the incident that took place yesterday, saying that what was the safety measures that were taken to ensure that this ship does not actually catch fire. Back to you in studio.